Hello world, in what could turn out to be one of the most consequential ransomware hacks of all time, the US's largest fuel pipeline has been taken completely offline by an attack perpetrated just a few days ago. The Colonial Pipeline accounts for 45% of the East Coast supply of diesel, gasoline and jet fuel. Provisions have been put in place to try and ease the shortage of fuel in the short term, but if this attack isn't resolved in the next few days, it could spell disaster and create crippling fuel shortages in certain parts of America. The FBI has confirmed that the DarkSide ransomware gang is behind the attack. But who is DarkSide, and why do they brand themselves as an ethical ransomware group? That's coming up in this video, where we break down and dissect cybersecurity related tech news. The attack was initiated on May 7th and reported by the Colonial Pipeline Company the next day. In a press release, Colonial explains that they were a victim of a ransomware attack and were forced to take their systems offline in order to contain the threat. The pipeline carries 2.5 million barrels of fuel per day from Texas to New Jersey. The DarkSide ransomware gang has been labelled the group responsible for this mischief. DarkSide is a relatively new ransomware gang which is known for both encrypting victims' data and exfiltrating it at the same time in order to heighten their leverage. If the victim of a ransomware attack doesn't care about lost data because they have backups, then usually the ransomware gang is kind of screwed. But if the gang also has a copy of that data, then they can threaten to release it online if the ransom remains unpaid, just like in the whole CD Projekt Red saga. DarkSide came into existence mid-2020 and portray themselves as a kind of Robin Hood-like organisation. They make a point of noting that they donate a portion of their profits to charitable organisations. In October, they donated $10,000 in Bitcoin to both Children International and the Water Project. Those are charities which help kids living in poverty and provide clean water to Africa. They even posted proof of their donations, which kind of makes me think this is just for show. After all, it's illegal for charities to handle stolen money, so this cash will likely have had to be handed over to the FBI. DarkSide would have known this. If they were donating purely for altruistic reasons, why would they publish the receipts and screw the charities over? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. That being said, DarkSide make it known they don't target schools, hospitals or non-profit organisations, but rather typically go after large organisations from which they can demand millions of dollars in ransom fees. They also don't target former Soviet countries. In a DarkSide ransomware code sample analysed by Acronis, a language check was found to ascertain where the victim computer is located. If the computer is located in any of these 17 former Soviet countries, then the ransomware doesn't proceed with encryption. This could be a clue that the operators themselves are from these countries. It's said that DarkSide is among the more professional ransomware gangs. I tried visiting their dark website to learn a little more about them, but I had no luck. The pages were all inaccessible. Could be because they're just overloaded with traffic. After all, they have received quite a lot of attention in the last few days. However, it could be the case that they've decided to go dark and go into hiding. No doubt they will have attracted a lot of attention from the FBI, which isn't good for business. A criminal gang works best when they can operate relatively free from law enforcement. By drawing attention to themselves like they've done here, they've moved their organisation up the FBI's priority list by some margin. But what does the pipeline hack mean in practice? It really depends on how long this goes on. If it's out of action for just a few days, then probably no massive impact in real terms, because there will be enough reserves to make up for it. Though if it takes much longer to get back up and running, then there could be real disruption. This could be made even worse by people panic buying fuel, just like we saw with food and toilet paper at the beginning of the corona lockdowns. Critical infrastructure like pipelines are rather fruity targets for cybercriminals because of the sheer scale of the damage that can be inflicted by infiltrating just a single system. Also, hacking OT, that's operational technology, is made much easier by the fact that so much of it runs on out-of-date tech. These industrial systems were typically built decades ago, in a time when cybercrime and hacking wasn't even a thing. They've slowly had to adapt to the changing times, but many of them are still running on outdated and unpatched systems. Like in my recent video where a water treatment facility in Florida was hacked, the nearby town's water supply was almost poisoned, all because the facility's computers were running insecure instances of TeamViewer and outdated Windows 7 machines. It wouldn't surprise me if this pipeline hack was caused by something equally stupid. This video is sponsored by Blinkist. If, like me, you're a fan of the concept of books, just not the time it takes to get through them, Blinkist is for you. Blinkist takes full-length books and condenses them into just 15 minutes. You can read the summaries or listen to them, podcast style. This morning I've been through Social Engineering, the Science of Human Hacking. Blinkist distills the whole book into 8 key ideas, or blinks. Each blink is only a few paragraphs long, but very information dense, allowing you to understand the concept explained in the book itself, but in just a couple of minutes as opposed to an hour. The great thing about Blinkist is once you're signed up, you have unlimited access to their library of thousands of condensed books, so you won't spend money on a book you never end up reading. If you start reading a summary of a book you realize you're not interested in, you can simply click off and just find another book. Blinkist is offering the first 100 people who sign up using the link below a 1-week free trial, so checking them out is a real no-brainer. Unlimited access to their library of thousands of books for free for a week. And if at the end of your trial you decide to buy a membership, you'll get a delicious 25% off. Make sure to use the link in the video description. If you want to see more of this kind of video, make sure to let me know in those comments. Might as well hit like and subscribe whilst you're down there. Also, for behind the scenes footage, make sure to follow me on Instagram. As always, sources will be linked in the description. Stay tuned for more hacking videos, and have a good one.